Thank you. Good evening. Today is November 8th. It's 7:41 p.m. and I will call the meeting of the Youth and Education Committee to order. My name is Gil Grandison, and I am the current chair of the Youth and Education Committee. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening. I don't know, I'm gonna share the agenda with you. Can I share, Miss Lyons? Let's see. Yes, I can. Okay. Just so we can go through what we're going to be talking about today. You're sharing the screen. Can everyone see the agenda?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome. So, I want to, as I said, welcome you, and just going to go around and do introductions in a minute. But I wanted to do a new agenda where it was more specific about the things that we were going to speak about, and old business that we need to get back, possibly into, that we need to finalize. And then I wanted to add a part into the agenda where I give members the opportunity to speak. And that is whether, they can give us information about things that happen in the community that concerns us in the youth and education sphere, um, events that might be happening that could be of interest to the committee, or even personally, other things that they think would be of interest to us. So I want to hold just maybe about a 5-minute space in there for us to open up the floor, um, for, I call it other business, but, just you to put your stuff in there and to share out with us. So, I'm going to go around. All right, let me change this because once I'm sharing, it's hard to see. So I'm going to start to my right of who I see on my screen. I'm going to ask you to please introduce yourself. Let us know whether you are a committee member, board member, or a friend of the Youth and Education Committee. Okay, I see Trevlyn, Miss Murray.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Trevelyn McCrae. I'm principal of PS 135, located on Linden Boulevard and Schenectady.
Well, welcome, Miss McCrae. I am so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to
And
be here
then,
too, as well.
thank you, Principal Grant.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Nicola Grant. I'm the principal of PS 235, right here on Lenox Road, a couple blocks away from Downstate Hospital. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Senator Persaud's office, Alex. Alex, are
Hello.
you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex. I work for Senator Roxanne J. Prasad, District 19, Brooklyn. I'm a constituent liaison, and I'm just here to attend the meeting to make sure um, everything is going well for the community board and for the constituents. If you guys need any assistance, I will be in the chat, so you can just direct your attention to me. And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Alex. Um, Miss Charles, Hyacinth Charles.
Hi everyone. Good night. I'm Hyacinth. I am a member of the board and a member of the committee. I actually have been in the school system. I used to be a special ed teacher and a guidance counselor, and then I moved from that into um, I worked in the hospital in mental health and also particularly in substance abuse rehabilitation. And I now have a company. I have a mental health counseling private company that I'm just starting out with, and looking for opportunities to be of service in the community. And I do
Thank
have
you.
something that I'd like to talk to Alex about. So I'd like to
Okay.
take his number and get in touch. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Say love for less and gift.
I'm sorry. Can
Power of positive
Miss
life
Wilson,
Not
Pamela
me.
Wilson, can you please mute?
On their radio.
Yeah, there's a radio on somewhere. I'm showing it
If you're thinking about
from
going
Miss
back to
Wilson.
school,
I
this is for you.
cannot mute this person. Miss
I ended up
Miss
spending less
Lyons,
money my
are you
entire
able
time
to
at
mute
SNHU than I did
Miss
in just 1
Wilson?
year at my other university.
My time at SNHU has given me more confidence. Now I can go for that promotion.
I think you may be able to do it because you have the whole
You can
you're
do
the
it.
host.
Southern New Hampshire University has changed my life, and it can change yours too.
Visit snhu.edu.
Miss Miss Lyons, are you there?
Experience the joy
Can you
of
please mute Miss Wilson? I'm so sorry, everyone.
Miss McCray?
Miss Wilson?
He doesn't even have a mustache.
I'm trying to figure out how to turn it off. Let me come out.
Are you tired of clean clothes that just don't smell clean?
Thank you. Oh, they got off. Thank you. I do apologize for that. Pamela Simon?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. Of course, my name is Pamela, and I am a member. I've signed up and I attend, and I'm attending more regularly lately. So I'm looking forward to working with everyone. I'm a special education teacher, and I primarily work in a capacity of support services. It's like what you would think of a resource room teacher back in the days, and I'm committed to the academic and social in the academic and social promotion of our struggling learners. And I may be at any school, anytime, or virtual. I work with kids virtually, and I also support parents. And so I'm like a resource. I see myself as an advocate and a resource for parents to help them understand how their learners learn and respond to it. And I look for resources, and I'm just a tunnel of resource. So I'm here for that, as well as to contribute and find out what services are available for my students and any human young person I come across that's a struggling learner.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We have a lot of resources here tonight we can dive into. Ivor, can you introduce yourself, please? Ivor? Okay.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone. This is Ivor. I'm a community member, a committee member, and a friend. And I'm here to assist in wherever and whenever possible. And if you need my help, just let me know. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Kamara? Am I pronouncing it right? Kamara?
Yes, you have. Hello, everyone. Good night. My name is Kamara Swaby. I'm also a community board member and a committee member of this wonderful committee. Born and raised in Brooklyn. I was participating because, as someone who was educated in this city and in this community board, have a vested interest in making sure we're giving back to the students and the teachers in the schools. So glad to be a part of this.
Thank you, Kamara. Edith Mark. Miss Mark?
Yes, hi, my name is Edith Mark, and I'm a community board member of 17. I'm just newly, joined the community board, and also a member of the youth board, and I'm just here to, I guess, learn and understand this committee and see where I can fit and possibly, give some suggestion and advices. And also I'm in healthcare. I'm in the healthcare system. I work for Health and Hospital Corporation. I used to work at Kings County, but now I'm at the central level, central office in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mark. Ms. Mickle.
Hi, I am Mulene Mickle. I'm a retired educator, so I find it possible at this time of my life to join as many committees as possible, because I do want to see changes. I want to see how well our community is helping our youngsters to excel in whatever they are doing in the classrooms or in wherever they want to go. So I'm here just to give a nod here and there and to give as much support as I can to see the youngsters excel.
Thank you, Ms. Mickle. I love how you said, I am Mulene Mickle. And Ms. Mickle has been with us for a number of years, so I do appreciate her being on this committee and being so dedicated. Ms. Duncan.
Good evening, I'm Mrs. Duncan. I am community board member, committee member, year 2, and special education teacher, 9th and 10th grade.
Awesome, thank you. I see Miss John Baptiste. Rachel John Baptiste.
Hi, good evening. Yes, that is my name. You said it correctly. My name is Rachel John Baptiste, and I am from PS 135. We are a community school, and I am our community schools director. Yes. So I'm just here to see what services, is out there that I could bring into my school as well as our resources.
All right. I'm sorry. I do have a soft heart for community schools. Worked from the onset with them when Mayor oh my goodness, why am I forgetting this man's name? When our previous mayor started, those 45 community schools. So there's a little heart in me when it comes to community schools and still work with them. Is there anyone else that came on? Ms. Saunders.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm a retired public school teacher, and I just like to stay active and involved in the community. And I'm also a fundraiser. I fundraise for the West Indian American Day Carnival for like 25 years, so I have a lot of skills that I could lend. And again, I would just like to lend my support to the committee.
I am going to call on you for those skills because this year we are going to do some fundraising. I am ready because we need it. And I have 2 principals on here that I am sure would love us to raise some funds. So we're going to talk more about that. Ms. Wilson, can you hear us? Are you there? Okay. Okay, so I think I've gotten everyone. Did I miss anyone? No, I don't see. Oh, Miss Wilson said her microphone is not working, and she's the parent coordinator from PS 135. So we've got the whole PS 135 contingent in the building tonight, and love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm just going to go into the chairperson report. I do not have a long report to give. I will say last month I do apologize. I had to cancel the meeting coming on. It was, our Community Schools Fundamentals Conference. I am like the main person that does a lot of the coordination and logistics in my agency for that. And it was just so much getting home by that time to have this meeting. I tried to get the chair or someone else to do the meeting, but everyone was preoccupied at that time. So I do apologize for having to cancel as it was last minute. It was early in the day, but it was still the day off, something that I don't usually do because I love to plan ahead. The board, I think it is over. I'm on the personnel committee, so I should be sure of this. So we are currently hiring for a assistant district manager and a community liaison. I know that the applications for the assistant DM, that filing period has passed, but I think it's still open for a community liaison person. So if you're interested or know anyone that's interested, or want to pass that information on to your school population, to the parents or anyone, you can contact the board, speak to Ms. Frazier or Ms. Lyons. They'll be able to give you more information around that. The other part I just want to mention, and that's the final part, is about attendance, especially when it comes to the board members, and the committee members, that we are still doing, stressing on attendance. And if people are absent for a certain period of time, we're going to, be removing names from the committee. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot still come to the meetings, but the ask is that the committee members just be committed to being here, because when it comes time, if there are issues that we need to vote on, it gets really hard when we have to make those commitments. When people come to us in the community for whatever reason, we're not able to have quorum. We cannot, vote on any kind of commitments and pass it down to the board. So there's a hamper in there. But if you cannot, I'll say, if you can't be that committed committee member, because you do have lives and things happen, you could just be a friend, but just know that you wouldn't be able to vote on certain issues when they come across the table during the committee meetings. Okay. To item 3, unfinished business, we spoke a couple of times about the committee events for the year, and I'm going to go through those a bit. I have a couple of principals here that we want to hear from, because this has been one of the things I've been trying to push, and I'm trying to find all the different ways. Miss Grant, Principal Grant, has been with us couple of times before. We're kind of aware of the needs in her school, and I know that the last committee meeting we had, we spoke in depth about the enrollment issue. And I want to see if also from Ms. McCray, if she's experiencing the same thing, but it's the enrollment issue in the lower grades, right? That her school was experiencing. And we try to come up with ways, but one of the things that we realized, Principal Grant, is that it was so late in the year for us to really do anything major. And the major thing would have been, our chair, Mr. Daly, we sat down and brainstormed about a few things, and, like doing enrollment, getting parents out in the park, doing something, but then realized, like, are parents really going to take their kids out of one school and put them in another at this point in time, right? So we want to dig deeper into that issue, because we want that even if we start at the end of the calendar year of 24, that somehow, somewhere, this committee can be invested in getting enrollment up, finding out from our schools where the enrollment numbers are short and start a campaign, right, of getting parents aware of, the schools in our community, and, here's why you should send the kids to, or, our communities. Well, I call them community schools because they're in the community, but not meaning community schools in the sense, although there's one of them. So this brings me down to the point, what I have created. I sent you guys a document earlier this afternoon around the strategic plan that I have created for this year, how we want to follow. And I'm going to do some sharing here. I'm not sure if everyone has it. This is it. And I think this is probably going to speak to some of the things that we can do to assist our principals. So this is for fiscal year 23 and 24. Okay. I'm gonna do, this is the start here with this. So before I let our excuse me, our principals give us a rundown of what is happening, I just want you guys to know that part of what I'm seeing and what I have here is about communicating with the principal and school administrative staff. And that as a committee, we want to build those strong relationships, right? Because we want to understand the needs and challenges within the systems, within your systems, which is your schools, and how we can collaborate on those initiatives, right? I came up with a couple of things: monthly communication with principals and school administrative personnel by inviting you to our meetings, special events, and planning sessions, which you're here tonight, giving you monthly or quarterly updates, or getting monthly or quarterly updates from our schools. And last year, I wanted to do a needs assessment to understand fully the needs within our schools. I was really happy that Councilwoman Farah Lewis, congratulations on her being reelected again. During one of the events, said to me that she wants to do the needs assessment also. Right. So I just got to have another conversation with her around that. Having her partner with us on this is excellent. I love it, because it's not something, all of it is not something that we as a committee can do on our own, because if there's need in there for us to get her to advocate for funding in certain aspects for our schools, then that's the person I need to really have on my side. Also, Councilwoman Rita Joseph, who is the head of the education committee, would love for her to get on board with it also. So far, I like the feedback that I'm given, but there's still work to do around it. So I just wanted to share this to let our principals and school staff know that I'm really, thank you, Ms. Saunders, I'm really committed to collaborating with you in whichever way that I can, and our members will. So I'm going to turn it over to both of our principals. I will also turn it over if Ms. John Baptiste has anything to say from the parent coordinator side, because we want to hear what parents are thinking also, how they're feeling, what's happening. So who wants to go first? Miss Grant or Miss McCray? I can't see it.
I've been here a couple of times already. I will give the floor to Principal McCray, and then I'll follow.
Thank you, Principal Grant. Good evening again, everyone. I want to say thank you again for inviting us to this meeting. What we have been trying to do, and I'm going to invite Ms. Baptiste, the community school director, and our parent coordinator to share. But we've been trying, like Ms. Grant mentioned, enrollment in the earlier grades. Enrollment has dropped. So we have been trying to do a little bit of branding in our school. So we are looking at ways to showcase the different events in our school. One of the things we are going to do is we have a marquee outside of our building, but it's not a digital marquee. And that's something we've been working on, to put a digital marquee on the outside so we can really inform the community of the different activities that we are going to be doing in our building. Just recently, we had a family game night, and many of our families came out with their children who are currently attending our school, and they brought their other children too to the event. And it was well attended. And I must say thanks to our community school director and parent coordinator who assisted in this event. We are going to have a family movie night on Friday. And then I think the following week, we are going to have a pajama read aloud evening, just inviting our parents, inviting them into our building, interacting with them, sharing the different activities we are doing in the building, so that if our parents get excited about what's happening in our building, they will spread the word. And the more we are out there, it's the more we are hoping to increase our enrollment. There's some other things that we had planned during the summer that didn't come to fruition. One of the things we wanted to do is to have a back to school fair in our schoolyard, but for some reason we were unsuccessful in getting that done. I know that Ms. Baptiste also has some activities that she is going to share with us, as well as Ms. Wilson. So I'm going to allow them to share, the other activities that we are doing to bring in, and not just to bring in, but to have like a partnership with the different organizations in our community. So I'm going to turn over to Ms. Baptiste, and then after to our parent coordinator, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Mrs. McCray. Once again, good evening. So I work in the community and I also live in the community. So one of the enrollment strategies that we have is we just, walk up to a parent, especially during the summer, tell them a little about our school and try to find out what school that, the child is currently attending. For example, we're seeing that the charter schools, parents are getting towards charter school because of the start of time and the drop of time and the time that they could pick them up. So one of the things we have we're launching at our school is a tutoring program that's going to start at 7. So that would give some students an opportunity to come into the building a little earlier, as well as the academic enrichment part of it. During the summer, I was able to meet with, we have a shelter in our neighborhood, the migrant shelter. So I partnered with the person from in there, the NYC liaison in there, and the plan is to filter some of these students into our school, and just pretty much putting the word out there about our school, what we're offering, what as a school that we have to give, and pretty much by word of mouth, we have people coming to enroll ever so often. We're hoping that the activities that we have a garden outside, people pass and talk about the garden, explain to them, how it came about, and just putting our name out there in the community as a school where, things can happen. This is a place where your child is safe and it's a learning environment as well. Trying to get other resources into our building. I have a partnership with New York Cares. anything pretty much, that I can put my hands on, that I could turn over to our school, and they could provide us with resources. We have after school programs, so we also let parents know during enrollment that that's happening. That's something that we're offering. And I think that's pretty much it. We have a Saturday program. We have over the summer, I partnered with Girls Inc. of NYC, and now we have a partnership where we have a girls club, and the girls are meeting on a Saturday. And also New York Cares, they're doing a visual arts and sports explorers if our students. So pretty much anything we have going on, we share it with the families that this is going on, and hopefully, they could pass it on to other people and they could seek interest in our school.
Well, thank you. Who is your program manager, Miss Baptiste? Miss John
For
Baptiste? Your
for the
community school program manager.
Allison Felipe,
Oh, okay.
yes. But the after school program we have is East Flatbush Village. That's our CBO.
Okay, they're still, I thought that they were leaving or they were gone. They're still
Currently,
there?
sorry, they got 1 year extension, so they're with us for another year.
And they're the only CBOs in that school?
We also have Achievement Lab. It's an organization that was founded in the Bronx, but they're with us. This is, I believe, their second year with us.
Okay. And Achievement Lab, what do they offer?
They offer academic enrichment, sports, and one good thing about their after school program is they have a monthly calendar of lessons. So 1 month it would be the cycle of life. I remember 1 week they had NYC Restaurant Week. So there are themes that the students work around every month.
Oh, okay. Nice. Miss Wilson,
So
you know,
I just
said-
want, can I just add one more thing?
Yes.
We're about to launch a new program in our school for our young men in our fourth and fifth grade boys to men. It's like a mentorship program. They will alternate and they'll meet twice a month for about 45 minutes. And the goal is for them to grow in knowledge of self, community, and the work, to identify and actualize rights as young boys, to strengthen confidence, courage, and resilience, and to expand on the importance of well-worth and self-love. So 2 of our teachers will be facilitating this mentorship program for our young men.
Awesome. Is that in any connection with the initiative My Brother's Keeper? I don't even know if that's still.
Well, My Brother's Keeper is still there, but it's not in connection. But I think the 2 teachers who are facilitating the program, they at some point in time, they were a part of My Brother's Keeper.
Of My Brother's Keeper. Okay. And let me ask a question. I know Ms. Wilson said her microphone was not working, but I will say if to all 3 of you, it sounds like you have some really great events coming up. You do have a couple of CBOs that are providing you with some academic and other programs. That is it fair to say the sustainability of them, or is there at a point where you are in danger of losing some of these programs?
I would say it was just yesterday we met with Achievement Lab to discuss how we can sustain the program, because of course they're getting funding from elsewhere. And one of our group, we are really targeting students in temporary housing. And so sometimes parents aren't willing to share certain information. And as a result of that, they're not able to get the services. So we were trying to strategize on what can we do so that more parents become aware of this program that they have access to, so that they can better, so that we as a school or achievement as an organization can better support them. So the sustainability in terms of achievement lab, we are trying to work around that. And for East Flatbush Village, likewise, because funding is always an issue with these programs. And these programs are not large programs, right? So
Right.
that's weird. That's weird.
So is there a dedicated person in your school that does the fundraising or looks at for different foundations or funders to send proposals out to for any of the initiatives that may be relevant to the programs that you have? Is there a dedicated person for that?
So that's a part of Miss Jean Baptiste's role.
Her role.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
So Miss just to say that Miss Jean Baptiste and Miss Wilson, they collaborate on many of these initiatives, but pertaining to what you just mentioned, Miss Baptiste takes on that role
She
too.
takes on that role also. I would like you guys to also like share. I'm gonna send you the youth and education email when those events within your schools are happening. Like you said, you have the family movie night coming up, you a pajama
Read aloud.
reading, yeah, those sort of things. Because I want to share it with the committee members, and maybe they can, someone can attend. I would love to attend some of the events just to get an idea. I'm actually going to say I want to start putting myself back out there. Now my schedule is a little lighter now that the grandkids are a little bit older and the parents are not relying on me as much. So I do have some evenings that I can, hop over and come, to some of those events because I want to be able to see, I understand better, and maybe talk with some of the parents and see how they're feeling. I saw Alex from Senator Prasad's office said, has your schools considered to do fairs, right? Things like housing resource fairs, careers fairs, science talent shows, etc. And I say yes to some of those things, but one of the things that I love a lot is collaboration, right? And I realize that you and Principal Grant schools are not too far from each other. And the question I want to put out there is, has there ever been any collaboration around with the two schools? I'm going to make you best friends before we leave
So
here
Miss
tonight.
Grant and I, we worked together one summer, right? And we haven't done any projects together.
Right.
And I don't see why we can't do any projects together, right, Miss Grant?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't.
Listen, I'll be willing.
We have not done projects together, but we're definitely open to it.
To it. Okay. I would love to be in there. I don't have enough to do, but I would love to do something. I like the ideas of like talent shows and fairs and stuff like that, especially career fairs. I don't know if that's something that you guys do, but I know that I got a request from a school not even in our community. And that's because Rudy went ahead and gave them my name. But I think, a career fair where we can just get parents out there, the kids doing those sort of things just opens up the arena a bit more. I'm sorry, I've been battling my allergies for the whole week. Yes, Ivor.
Hi. I just have a inquiry. Maybe for the principals or the senators, the council person's spokesperson. What about the migrated families with their young children? Is there a way, because if, I might be mistaken, but aren't those kids supposed to be in schools also? Is there a way that we can, or is there something on the books that requires them to be in school, and can't that help with what you guys are going through?
I'm gonna let Principal Grant speak to that because I think during our conversation she did mention something like that. And I want to hear more because Principal McCray just said that there's a asylum, a shelter in our community.
Yes.
Okay, so Principal Grant, I'm going to open up the floor to you now, starting off with that question.
Absolutely. We're on Lennox Road between 39 and 48th Street, and we're directly across the street from one of the main entrances to Kings County Hospital. Just to give you an idea where we're physically located. And with that said, we have not received any migrant students. So I'm not sure where those families are being directed to send their children. But from what I am seeing, they're not directed to PS 235. I'm not sure if they're directed to PS 135, but they're not directed to our location. What I do find is that I get many children or families that are coming from out of state, and they're finding us on the internet. I did invest in a new website for us as well as an app to get our information out. I send out monthly calendars with activities, so I know that gets circulated as well. On the schoolyard fence, we have posters that have QR codes, so anyone walking past can scan the QR codes to learn more about us. We have specific programs per grade level that's based in the arts. For example, third graders, they work with an organization called Symphony Space, and that program works with teachers as well as students. It's based on social studies of history around the world, and the children learn music as well as making instruments in third grade. So that's a benchmark activity. In fourth grade, the children participate in the National Dance Institute program, and at the end of the year, there's a dance performance for all of the fourth grade children to participate in. Our fifth grade benchmark activity is with Theater for a New Audience, and this is where the children annually study a Shakespeare play. This year's play is Macbeth or Julius Caesar. We haven't decided yet, but we're going to get there pretty soon. And at the end of the year, the children put on a performance, and it's open to families. So we try to give many family-related activities and to message out for many years now that there are these performances that will take place from one year to the next. So we do break it up. The children are not seeing the same thing year after year. One of the things that I did this year, because we finally received our Title I status back, so we got a little boost in cash. I hired a literacy coach. I hired another teacher for our fifth graders to reduce the number of children in the fifth grade classes. And then the remaining funds, we're taking the children to different field trips. The fifth graders last Friday, I took them to Howard University in Washington, D.C. I do not find that they're too young to be exposed, especially to Black excellence at its peak. And I think it's so important for them to see what it's like at a HBCU. One of the best things that happened to us on Friday while we were at Howard is that we saw some of our former students who are now in college at Howard University. And it was great to see them because they were able to speak with our students about being at the main building right here on Lennox Road, going off to middle school at Lennox Academy or someplace else, going to high school, and how they are now winning at Howard University. So our next field trip with fourth graders will be to Philadelphia. Third graders, we're going to go to the Liberty Science Center. Second graders will go to the Hall of Science. First graders will go to the Statue of Liberty. Kindergartners, they will go to Lower Manhattan to Wall Street. So it's just building in these benchmark activities so the kids know they have something to look forward to, in addition to reading, writing, math, science, and social studies, and playing with the chickens in the schoolyards, because we do have a chicken coop with about 20 chickens and 2 roosters.
I forgot I was on mute. I just love what I heard there. You're doing a lot. Ivor,
And
you
that's,
have
I did not get to our community activities that we do within the school. Our largest event that we just completed was raising funds for the American Cancer Society. And we do that throughout the month of October. We are the only public school along the Eastern Seaboard that raise as much money as we do, that we donate to the American Cancer Society. The whole fundraising activity is in honor of our namesake, Janice Marina.
yes. Awesome. Ivor, you have a question? I see your hand.
All right, thank you. So just to follow up, maybe I'm thinking about this the wrong way. Is having migrant students in your school to prop up or to fill in for your lack of attendance or your lack of pupils, is that a stigma on the school, or do you really need kids to be put into those classroom seats?
I don't believe it's a stigma. I believe it depends on where the individuals are housed and how far they are from a public school building and the resources that are available in those specific locations. I'm going to assume with good faith that's what it's based on. Because we're not close to any of those housing spaces. We're closer to Kings County, we're closer to 2 men's shelter. So I'm not sure the rationale behind enrollment when they are providing families with information on different schools. But in terms of getting students into public school seats, I went to a meeting on Monday night at the district office. And there was a presenter who shared some information about the number of seats that are currently being occupied by public schools compared to charter schools. And it was almost a 50-50 split. I think for public schools, we have to look at it in a different way of how to encourage families to select public schools as opposed to charter schools. One of the things I do know about our local charter schools is that they offer longer hours for the children to be on site compared to PS 235. So for many years, we have not had the opportunity to offer a robust after school. With some funding this year from the Title I was able to hire, and this is coming out of the school budget, hire elite learners, and I could only afford 2 days. So the children are here from 7:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. But as a working parent, those are not working parent hours.
Right.
Many parents will get off work maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. By the time they leave their workspace and get to this side of town, it's about 5:30 or 6. But I don't have the funding to offer the parents that opportunity. I would love to offer parents that opportunity, but I don't have it. And it is something that would have to come out of my budget. Then I'm back into a corner of, do I reduce class sizes and make it a better learning space for the children? Or do I offer after school? What I would like to do is do both.
Right. Interesting. So is it fair to say that one of your main issues, not only that the enrollment, because I know when we've previously spoke about this, it's like a financial matter also, correct? In terms of the budgeting and what DOE funds funding for the school, because remember the dollars follow the children.
Correct.
So if the budget, if her enrollment is not up, that means the school is going to lose money, right? And at this point, I don't think any of our schools can afford to lose any kind of monies that they have or are getting. So I want to ask and you can give me a very direct answer because I want a very direct answer to this. What are the two biggest issues that you guys are facing? And I want to say, Principal Grant, is the enrollment one of the two biggest issues? Is that okay? So it's your enrollment, and then is it fair to say funding to provide a robust after-school program?
Yes, so funding is directly connected to enrollment. So if I
Right.
don't have the students, I don't have the money.
Right. You
In
don't
order
have
to get the money, I need more students. But in order to get more students, I need to have options for families.
option, right? And
If I
because
don't
you
have enough options, then families have to do what's best for them and their
for
children.
them. Okay. Principal McCray, what would you say are your two biggest issues that you are facing? Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you for letting me know that. I would say funding. So our enrollment did go up this school year. However, we find that we are perhaps will get some funding, but because we had to borrow funds to make sure we had the teachers to start the school year off, we have to repay the funds back to the DOE. But thinking about what's best for our scholars, small class size is important. So getting qualified teachers to provide the instruction is a challenge for us, especially at this time of the school year. And also getting teachers to push in to provide the services for our Ls or for our students with disabilities. That too is, and it's connected to, and Principal Grant mentioned it, everything is connected to funding.
Yep.
Everything is connected. So even though your enrollment goes up, it depends on what happened at the beginning of the school year. Did you borrow money in order to start the school year off? So now your enrollment is up. You now have to repay them for the short. You have to give them back that shortfall, right? Or register growth, right? So in our situation, we had register growth. So we borrowed money because at the time we didn't have the money. And now that we are going to get the money, we have to give them back the money that they gave to us for register growth, right? So funding has a lot to do with it.
A lot to do with it.
School program, and I appreciate those two programs. And these are our parents. I think they're enjoying the two programs that are there. They appreciate the providers of those programs. But I think getting the extra funding will allow us to have, for example, some of our scholars, their devices are broken, right? And of course, the DOE isn't providing new devices this year. So we need the funding in order to make sure that our scholars get the devices so that they can utilize technology in the classroom. So my biggest thing right now is funding.
When you say the devices, is it laptops or tablets?
Tablets.
Both.
Chromebooks.
Yeah, and the Chromebooks are the better one than the iPad, because the iPad, after maybe a couple of months or 3 months or so, we find that they're no longer keeping up. The applications need to be updated. There's not enough storage space. These
Right.
constant issues with the iPad.
Right. Okay. Principal Grant, in terms of devices or other technological areas, for the students, do you have a issue with that in your school also?
Yes, we do. We did a great job over the last couple of years of ensuring that all the students have a device, a working device. We're now at a place where those devices are no longer working, particularly the iPads. And that was the bulk of devices that were handed out at the start of the pandemic.
Okay.
However, with the changes with the applications and the platforms from DOE, the iPads cannot keep up. And as Principal McCray stated, DOE is not providing funding to purchase new devices or replace those. So the cost falls back onto the schools, and now we're back into this dance of having to decide what can we afford to offer and what becomes the requirement. So for fifth graders must have a working device because their state exams are digital.
Oh, okay.
So that's a non-negotiable.
Wow. Thank you. Alex, I saw your hand is up. And Ivor, if you still, that might have been previously, but I'm going to go to
I'll
Alex
wait till
first.
everyone. I'll wait till everyone is done.
Alex?
Yes, hi, can you guys hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
So I just have a question, and pardon my ignorance. I just want to make sure I just fully grasp the situation. So when we talk about needing additional funding, or needing funding, is there a lack of funding? Like it's not enough, or is it that there just needs to be additional funding to accommodate for specific things like upgrading technology?
There's not enough funding. We were given enough to purchase for the new kids that are coming in the 3K, pre-K, and kindergarten.
Okay, and so
Now have to go into the school's budget to take care of the children who have been with us.
so when we look at the funding that New York City receives for public school, they receive $37.6 billion a year, right? Give or take. And that's more than like states and some states combined. So do you have any answer to like why potentially the New York City is getting the most funding out of every state in the United States, but there seems to be a lack of funding. Like schools are just having an issues with not having enough funding.
I'm not in a position to answer that question because I do not know nor understand the matrix behind the decision
Okay.
of how that dollar amount gets distributed across the city.
Okay, and sorry, last question. Are you utilizing reaching out to elected officials for grants or anything?
I have.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're on mute.
I just want to say, Ivor, you had a question. I want to respond to something that Alex said, but I'm going to let Ivor speak first.
Okay. Thank you so kindly. You know, I clearly, if I understand this correctly, the funding is tied to the enrollment. And so when your enrollment is down, that kind of cuts into your funding. And my whole premise is trying to see how we can get the enrollment back up, which would bring your funding back. So what I'm hearing is that, you know, it sounds to me like school is not just about school anymore. It's more like a business. And as a business, we have to begin to think outside the box. And what I see, what I've been trying to harp on, or what's been coming to me, is that there's a crisis in the city with the migrants. And, you know, crisis is best seen as an opportunity for change. It's an opportunity to do something with it. And if enrollment equals funding and these children from migrant families are in the city, they, I believe they need to be schooled.
Mhm.
I think that's something that you guys can tap into and increase your funding. And I'm quite sure that by doing so, that will open the door to other funds flowing into the school because you're taking in these migrants into the schools. But I don't know. I'm not in there. You are. Thank you.
Can I share on that just a bit?
Yes, Miss John Baptiste.
Okay, so over the summer, I worked summer school in 268, Miss Grant, Miss McCray. I think 2 other schools were in there. I also am the attendance coordinator, so I worked on attendance. What we were seeing is that the kids were not coming out to come to the program because of the language barrier. So they were using some apps like Duolingo, where they were able to take a picture of whatever, like the booklet, and they were able to transfer it. With that going on, myself and parent coordinator and another staff member from 235, and she happens to be bilingual. So we walked over to the shelter. We met the DOE liaison over there. Eventually we had a meeting, but what we're seeing is that the kids are not comfortable in the schools because of that language barrier. When we met with the DOE person from in there, she said that if there is like enough students, we can have an actual ESL program in the school, but kind of filtering the kids into like K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. The kids were pretty much not coming out. So we pretty much took on a task of going to find those kids. And then what happens is they move around so much that, they start with you Monday, Tuesday, by Wednesday, Thursday, they're in another part of Brooklyn. And so they go into another school. So the one shelter that is situated on Utica Avenue, most of the kids would go to PS 219, is that 268? Because they're like 3 blocks away from there. So they would be going to the middle school that's there and that elementary school. So PS 135, PS 244, 208, 235, these kids were not filtered into our school because it was more convenient to just walk 2 blocks down and be into the school right there. So that's the reason, according to the DOE person in there, that these kids were not filtered into our school. Because when we go to meetings, we're hearing that this school got 65 students, this school got 50. So I kind of went on board and, I was like, how do we get them to come to us? But that's the response we had. We actually had a meeting, myself, the principal, our dean of our school, and that liaison from the shelter. So that's what we're facing. And from what we can see, like the news says one thing, but when you go into the nitty-gritty of things, it's really not like that.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Gill, I'm sorry, may I very quickly?
Is that Alex?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to just to clarify my questioning, in case there's just like any confusion. So my intentions were to requesting or saying that we need funding is not a solution per se, right? That's just identifying a problem. So when I have this conversation with the senator and we talk about schools not having enough funding, I want to be able to make sure, there's a representation of understanding as to why the DOE is not providing potentially said funding, what the perspectives are, and then how we can come to a solution, whether that be enacting policy, maybe more grants needs to be had, or maybe whatever the senator decides to do. So that way we have that conversation, and that way you guys are accurately being represented as principals and such, because working in an elected official's office, we have a different perspective from what you guys have, right? And our solutions may not be your solution. So
Okay. Well, thank you, Alex, for that. I think the issue is one of the things in regards to what you said, Alex, why they're not getting enough funding. Out of the entire states, New York City has the largest school system across the country, next to California, right? 1.1 million children. There is a funding formula Now, is that funding formula? It's quite old. Is it equitable? Some may say yes, some may say no. And Principal Grant is going to agree with me. It's not an equitable funding formula. The reason why, the principals are noting that they're not getting a formula is because, as I said before, the money follows the child. If their enrollment is down, it means that their funding is going
Go
to be
down.
right? They're not going to get the adequate amount of money as if they have full enrollment. Now, even although they get funding from DOE per child, does not mean that that money, covers everything that the school, I don't want to say want because we're like your wants are no, but I'm going to say needs to do, right? So we have all these other programs that are supplemental to, to the full day, to the academic day, right? They're supplemental to the academic day, but they're very, there's a necessity for them. It's not just a matter of being a daycare for parents because they're not going to leave work till 5 o'clock or get to the school or 6 or 7. These after school programs help supplement the academic day. They also open up a lot of different areas where we see the diversity of our kids and the talents that they hold within, right? So there's funding that is needed, and this is why our CBO partners play such an important role in our schools, because they can come in there, they are getting their fundings from various sources, and these sources, the principals may not have a repertoire with, right? So when I asked Principal McCray whether or not there was a dedicated person on her team, whether or not that they're able to do like some fundraising, writing proposals, is because I was thinking that in order to fund some of these external, not going to say that, some of these programs, is that this person can be dedicated to going, doing a lot of research, looking at the various foundation out there. We've got MetLife, we've got Kellogg, we've got Jeff Bezos' ex-wife gives out so much money, more than she has and she can spend in a lifetime. Like there's all these different foundations where they have all these different priorities during the year, that there's a possibility that they can, create proposals to submit to get the funding to help with some of these programs. Now, these are things that our CBOs does, right? They can have CBO's funding don't necessarily come from the Department of Education or DYCD. They come from various funders across the country. So that's one of the reasons they keep talking about funding, because that formula does not provide adequate funding within our schools to say, hip hip hooray, we've got enough money that we need. And it's neither me there or here to say that, it should be, because it's really not. So when you hear a principal talk about additional funding, it's because the programs need to have some kind of sustainability for them. We don't want kids to come in like for the school year and we're going to offer, some kind of science program or technology program or coding program, and it just goes for the year. We want the kids to have that continued experience from grade to grade, right? We want to be able to offer them STEM or STEAM classes. So it's these kind of things, when you hear the talk about funding, that I think I'm going to say that they're really trying to get at. And as I say, enrollment low, dollars go down because of that funding formula. So I think, I would one of the things I would really love to have is for us to have with the principals, if Senator Prasad, if this is something you want to take back to her, to have a conversation with Councilwoman Rita Joseph, Councilwoman Farah Lewis, and Senator Prasad around these issues and how, their office may be able to either help financially or help us to figure out ways where we can increase the fundings. Are there other CBOs in the community or outside of the community that be willing to come in to work with our schools? Sometimes, partnership is not only because someone is at your back door or your neighbor. They could be from various parts of the city that, want to extend their program or is willing to extend their program. So I think in this aspect, like I'm here searching my brain to figure out what's the best way that we can work with our principals and to help them meet this goal, right? It may not be 100% of what they need, but in any which way that we are able to get to a starting point, to get to a midpoint, to work something out. For me, a start is a beginning, and it's a journey for us to take together.
Miss Grandison, can I just share that
Yes, Ms.
as
Grant.
2 weeks ago they had a legislative breakfast in District 18. I was there. It was Council Member Lewis was there, Mercedes Narcisse, and representative from Senator Prasad's office, Monique, because I think they were in Guyana. And part of the conversation was that there is so much monies, but they don't know what the principals need because the principals don't go to them.
Well, we're coming.
We had a legislative breakfast in 17 where we had more representation from legislators, and it was the same conversations. Councilmember Mealy says she has sent out correspondence to principals in my district. They did not respond.
Wow.
They did not respond. I got her to come in to meet with the principal of PS 191, and the principal was blown away to see how much money was on the table, but she was not aware.
Well, I want to say for these two principals, we're coming. I'm coming with them.
We are always, but I just want to say we are always sending our requests in. We are always sending year after year. And Council Member Mealy has given us things, right? She's given us ACs for our, we are in the middle of getting ACs for our auditorium. So we've gotten things here and there. We've written grants too as well. For us to have East Flatbush Village, we wrote a grant together. And so we were awarded the Empire State Grant. And that's why East Flatbush Village is in our school. We have an hydroponic lab. One of our teachers wrote a grant. And that's how we ended up with that. But Ms. Grandison, you stated sustainability. And that is the key, right? Because yes, you're getting the grant, but it's only for a time. What happens after that?
Yes.
Right? So Principal Grant mentioned some of the funding in order for us to sustain it will come from our budget. And sometimes you're caught in between. How do I use this funding? Do I use it to sustain this program, which is really helping our kids, or do I use it for something else? And that's why funding is so important.
Yes. I want us to continue this conversation. And Miss Graham, I'm gonna call you up sometime this week. I think we're all off on Friday, so maybe Friday to have a conversation.
No, we're not. We're not.
Schools are not closed on Friday?
They took that back from us.
They took it back?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Now I feel bad because I'm sorry. I didn't know they took Veterans Day.
No, but I'm able to engage in a conversation on Friday.
I'm available, so please give a call.
Okay, but I want to continue this conversation because I want us not to just talk about it here. I want us to start to take action. And I can do some writing if need, right?
Hey, Ms. Grant.
I want to send to get something out to our elected representatives to see if we can have a come to Jesus meeting. And let's talk about this. And let's talk about it in a way that we're seriously going to move ahead on trying to figure out what funding realistically, I don't want to hear maybe or possible, but realistically that they, from their end, they're able to do. And then the next step to this, what I want us to do is to look at those funders out there to see what are the initiatives for the years that, even if it's 5,000 here or 10,000 there or what, it all adds up. Miss Saunders or dedicated fundraising person. This is where I said, remember I said earlier, I'm going to draw you into this conversation. And this is where I draw you in. I'm going to bring you into these conversations. And if there's anyone else on the committee who wants to take part in this, because I'm not going to ask everyone if it's not something of interest to them. But I want us to have a conversation more about funding, even locally, right? Local funding, but I want to do a nationwide look at where those funding streams can possibly come from. Who out there that has all this money that needs a tax write-off will be willing to take it, right? So I will send out an email on Friday. I know I'm off. I'm sorry you guys are not. But I really want to wrap this around my head and start to put it in motion. I don't want to do any more talking. I want to do writing. I want real action happening. And this is the way I feel like as the committee, when we talk about communication and advocating for you, for us to move ahead. Mr. Tate, I saw you had your hands up and then you took it down. I'm glad you were able to join us.
Yes, thank you, and I'm sorry I was late, but
No, it's
I
okay.
assume you saw my email, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, my first it was like Miss Grant, Principal Grant. She mentioned that her after school ends at 4:30, and I was wondering if yes, that might be an issue with the. It may affect the enrollment because, for instance, like because I'm thinking of my granddaughter, because the school that she goes to, the after school ends at around 5:15, I think it is. So I was wondering, and forgive me, but I don't know the intricate part of the budgeting and so forth. Like how your school has to end at 4:30 versus my granddaughter at 5:15 that we pick her up. So that might be an issue with the enrollment too. Yes, because if parents see like they could keep the kids there until 5 o'clock versus having to pick them up at 3 o'clock or so forth, I would think they would go to the place where they could keep them for a longer time and don't have to worry about having someone to pick them up and so forth. So if you could explain to me, like how that process, and I could tell you, my daughter goes to PS 121, which is in District 21. Yes, it might be a difference in the funding for certain areas, but I was wondering if it would help you if you would be able to expand the after school program to maybe by half an hour or so.
With every after-school program, whether it's run by the school or an outside organization such as Elite Learners that's here at PS 235 or East Flatbush Village that's at 135, everyone wants to be paid, right? No one's going to do that work without being paid. And because there's limited funds on my end, I can only afford up to a certain point on those 2 days. So it really depends on how much money is available for that organization to pay their staff. The past 3 or 4 years, PS 235 has not been a Title I school. So this is our first year regaining Title I status. So now we're able to apply for many grants, whereas last year and the previous year, we were not. So we're now in a different position, but this would apply to next school year. So for this school year, we will not be able to extend the hours because we don't have the money to pay the organization, so they can then in turn pay their staff.
Okay, and forgive me, and by no means I'm trying to run, try to actually how to suggest how to run, but you did mention that you have something started, Elite Learners start at 7:30 in the morning, or did I misunderstand that part?
Let me clarify, because I may have misspoke. So 7:30, we open our doors, and we do that earlier start to welcome children for breakfast.
Yes.
In the past, it was a later opening time, but to have staff come in at that time, I do have to pay them.
Okay. Yeah. No, just trying to see, because I'm trying to figure out, certain thing how we could, how we could help.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know right now I was looking because PS 121 they do have a website with they do a lot of activities. They do a lot of fundraiser. Yeah, they do have a strong PTA, which is another thing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and I know the after school program. I know my granddaughter called it NIA, so I don't know if that means anything to you. I don't know what that means. I could try to find out. But you did mention the Elite Learners, so I don't know if it is that it's funded by another group. I don't know. I just trying to match up the, compare the timing. So I
Absolutely.
could find out more, try to find out more information and see if that could help. But
Okay.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Tate.
you're
So,
welcome. Mhm.
So I have said what my action items are, since it's now 9:03. I do not want to keep people much longer. I will follow up with our principals, our community school director, and our parent coordinator around this. Because I want to make sure that what I am writing that you approve of and there's no miscommunication or misunderstanding in reaching out to the elected representatives just to get a meeting with them around this. I don't know if other schools will join in, but I'm starting with 2. And I want to share, I know I shared with the committee members that strategic plan. I ask if you guys have if you want to make or think that there should be things we add in there or any adjustments, kindly send me an email. I will share it with Principal Grant and Principal McCray so that you guys can see the broader document and what it encompasses for this year. I have dedicated myself to measure to use metrics to measure how as a committee we are engaging with our principal communities, right? And the best way that we're able to assist them and to help. Now, who knows? Maybe one day when I buy that lotto ticket and it's some almost $1 billion and I call you with a big smile on my face, you're set for a while because I can't spend all that money and I'm not trying to spend it. And I've learned giving away is the best remedy, right? So, that I want to do, I want to follow through. Does my committee members have any comments, concerns as to what they heard today? Are you willing to, if I reach out to you, to put a lending hand, Miss Saunders? I know I voluntold you, but I'm going to hear what you have to say.
I'm sorry, Gail, just a short announcement. I'm also attend the Commerce Committee, and November 18th, that's the Saturday, they're
Mhm.
having a small business expo at
Yes.
1298 Utica Avenue from 1 to 5. And I think it's a way to support our small businesses. So I just wanted to make that short announcement.
Yes, I will be there at that also. And I
So,
don't know if they will let me speak or not, but I'm going to ask and I'm going to see what I can push my 2 cents in today around supporting our schools. But I definitely try, I promise to be there, DV. Mr. Lewis, I see your hand.
Oh, hi, good night, everybody. Good night, Miss Grant.
Good
Miss
night.
Grant. So I was just appointed as the alternate chair for the Title One for PS 235. And the reason why I choose to do that, because once I found out, well, you know, PS 235 is in the blood. I graduated from PS 235. My sister, my cousin, my nephew, my daughter goes
The
there, the
family.
little one is going to go there, and I'm a big proponent for 235 because based on that, I got my start. So what I am looking at is when I heard that PS 235 now got it back after losing it for 4 years, I recognize our community doesn't understand what Title One is. A lot of the time, there's a somewhat unwarranted fear about putting information to receive funding and understanding again what it is. I mean, and I know Ms. Grant maybe, spoke about it before, but she is in a position right now to lose over $154,000 in funding. And
Yeah.
that number bothered me. So that is why I put myself in that position so that I could agitate. Now that I've heard that the legislative for the school 18 and everything, and the politicians say nobody ain't asking, I'm
Yep.
gonna start to ask.
Thank you,
Right?
Mr. Lewis. Yes.
So this is where I am being proactive in that because I need PS 235 to keep going. I was in the school before Miss Janice Renite became an assistant principal in the school. I should tell you how long I've been around. And I understand the value that that school brings, as well as all the others. But I kind of biased towards my school, my alma mater. So I am, this is why I'm announcing that, because Ms. Granderson, you could lean on me now as one of those to be able to push and help to get through and get this thing going and making sure that everybody gets an opportunity to get access to all of the funding, all the resources, all the programming to be a very effective community in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. And Principal McCray, don't feel that you're being left out. No, you are right up there with us. I didn't go to 135. I mean, I feel bad. My cousin and my aunt used to go to 235 also. It's like everybody's so accustomed to 235, but we are not pushing you back. You are right up there with us. As I said, you're the two principals that came tonight. We heard your stories. We understand what you're going through, and we're going to advocate to the best of our abilities to help you, because helping you is helping our children, helping our community. And this is who we are. We are Community Board 17. Before we go, I'm just going to give a quick minute to, is there
Ms.
anything?
Granderson, I'm sorry.
Yes, Ms.
I
Grant.
stand with all the principals.
There
But
we go.
my heart is with 235. Ms. Grant was my son's fifth grade teacher.
Oh
So
my
I am
goodness.
down with 235 as well, but I'm willing to support the agenda.
That's right. I'm down with 135. I'm going to say, just for the record, I'm down with 135 too. 235 got it's supporters, and I'm there with 135. We're down with you. So I'm just going to give a minute. Is there anything that anyone wants to put out there? Any events happening? Anything that we should know? happening in the community that you want to share?
Yes, I'd like to
And
share on
I know
November
that
18th, we're
Okay,
having
I'm sorry, who's speaking? I can't.
hi, it's Principal Grant.
Oh, sorry.
On November
I
18th,
know
we
that
are having
Councilmember
our fall
Joseph.
festival.
Wait, Miss Graham, Principal
I'm sorry.
Grant. Go ahead, Principal Grant.
Saturday, November 18th, we're having our fall harvest festival for families, as well as the community in our schoolyard. So we will be open to welcome all from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on November 18th.
Wow, seems like I got a lot of events on the 18th to go to. Can you, Principal Grant, share that, email me that information? I am going to have our communication chair put that on our website and also send it out to the community.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anyone else, Ms. Graham, you were saying?
I was sharing that Councilmember Joseph has a free book giveaway on the 18th as well.
Oh,
Yeah, so the 18th seemed to be a very popular date.
It does. And it's a very good friend of mine birthday. Wow. Lots to do that day. Lots. Okay.
So, Ms. Gill,
Yes.
so this may come to no surprise, but on Saturday, November 18th, Senator Prasad is doing a paper shredding and e-waste recycling event. She's also going to have Assemblymember Jamie Williams there, Assemblymember Waterman, and Councilmember Farrah Lewis there as well. So again, I know you called on the senator and Assemblywoman, council member to have this conversation about, the current
Yes.
state. So like, I don't want to make any guarantees, any promises, but if you guys would like to attend, you're free to attend. They will be there. And thank you guys for your amazing insight. I really learned a lot, and I feel like I'm able to convey a lot because of you guys, and because of you guys' pushing not only for the school but for the kids and the families being a support structure. Thank you guys so much.
What's the location?
Thank
The
you.
Oh
location of
yes,
the shredding?
my apologies. 1222 East 96 Street.
Alex,
Thank
can you also email that to me or to the board? Because I want to take all these events and put them all together and send them to our communications person
Absolutely.
to
Do I
send
don't think
out.
I don't think I have your email. My apologies.
It's cb17education@gmail.com.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So if there's nothing else, I am going, it's now 9:13. I thank you for the 13 extra minutes, but it was worth it. Very insightful. I am going to close out our meetings. Is there anything else from anyone before? Okay, so yes.
Ms. Grandison, I just want to know how can I reach out to you after this? You mentioned, the outside funding, and I would love to know how to go about doing that. So I guess that's a conversation I would love to have with you.
Okay, I am going to put my number because in the chat, and I freely give you will to call me.
Thank you.
Okay, it's in there because I have the information written down here with me. So I want to wish each and every one of you the most heartfelt, blessed, joyful Thanksgiving with your families. Enjoy those days off. They didn't take the day after Thanksgiving away from the schools, did they? Okay, thank you. Awesome. Because now I'm really starting to feel bad. I want to make sure you guys enjoy it, be thankful, gracious, enjoy yourself, and I will see you in December. Thank you to everyone that came out tonight. I do appreciate you giving me your time. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Here,
I'm sorry?
motion to adjourn.
Who's making the motion?
Ivor.
Ivor, I'm sorry. So for some reason, it's not always popping up when the person is speaking. Can I get the second?
George,
Ms.
can you second
Graham.
the motion? Oh,
Okay. I heard Miss Graham and Mr. Tate.
give it to Miss Graham. That's
Oh.
fine.
Thank you for your gift. Thanks for the gift.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lewis, your hand is still up. Was that from before or?
Yeah, that was from before. I never took it
Okay.
down. Good night, everybody.
Okay. All right.
have a
Thank
good
you
evening.
and good night, everyone. Be
Good
well.
night.
Good
Good
night.
night.